Hello, everybody. I am going to straight away start off with a powerful question. Are you feeling stuck in your current path, yearning for a change that aligns with your values and aspirations? So hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany, and if you've been following my channel, I am living here currently in Bali. Today is a non-surfing day. You will likely hear that my voice sounds a little bit blocked. My ears and my nose is a little bit blocked. I feel a little bit under the weather, so I have decided to take the day off from surfing. Plus, it's also a little smaller today. I am living here now in Bali for more than 3.5 years. I am focused on surfing every single day, and right now we have the big waves. And I'm also focused on living a healthy and well lifestyle. I am fully plant-based. And I am also a yoga practitioner. I'm very much plugged into my spiritual practices. So in today's video, I really want to discuss with you my journey back to sales and how it's transforming my life and how this may be the right path for you and something that you may be looking for and seeking as well. So I'm going to break this video up into a few different parts. So feel free to fast forward wherever you like. However, I'm going to be sharing about the turning points, reflecting on the past 18 months, why this path might be right for you, and could this be the change that you need? And then I'm going to wrap up. Over the past 18 months, there have been significant moments in my life which have really been moments for me to self-define, moments for me to check in with what are my values, what is my vision, and am I living in alignment with my values and my vision? So I just want to share, first of all, the first section I'm going to share about is the turning point. And you also may have had or are having these turning points or these significant moments in your life as well, which really cause you to stop and question and reflect about yourself and your life and what you're doing. So I want to share around why I'm actually returning to sales. If you have been following my channel for a while, or you've been following me on social media through my Facebook account or my Instagram account, you will have known that yes, I am currently living here in Bali. Like I said, I've been here for more than 3.5 years, and I am a very active surfer with my healthy and well lifestyle. And previously, up until almost a year ago, I also was involved with sales with a previous business model. And there are many videos now actually on my channel, which you can refer back to, which actually shares my path and journey of what life was like in the past with sales. However, this video today, like I said, and like I have mentioned, is actually why I've chosen to intentionally come back to sales. Sales is service. Now, you may also have your own definition or identify in different ways what sales is. And I want to share that I've been actually able to redefine sales as a form of service. And being in service has always been my dharma. I previously used to be a full-time yoga instructor, and I previously, many moons ago, I was a professional performer. So in some way, shape, or form or another, my entire life, I've always shown up to be in service of others, whether it's guiding them through a yoga practice, whether it's being part of a show for entertainment, to help people feel good, and previously in service when I was promoting the business model that I'm now going to share about. So I also just want to emphasize that your preconceived ideas about sales, it may be just all around pushing a product. However, sales can be so much more, and it can be so much more about a direction to empowering others to improve their lives through something meaningful. I've always, for quite a few decades now, I've always lived outside traditional systems. I didn't just finish school and go to university and get a job and get married and have the white picket fence. I very much, for more than 2 decades now, lived a very different lifestyle. And as we know today, there are so many people now traveling the world and living outside of traditional systems of just the corporate life, the standard 9 to 5 life, and you know what the majority of people do. I've always, I would say, have not gone against, not like I've rebelled, but I've been on the other side of the status quo. I think it's actually been really beautiful that my decision to step away from a conventional path and embrace a lifestyle and a way to work and live and travel, it actually aligns with my core values. And my core values are freedom, health, and sustainability. So when I've gotten really clear with what those values are, then I've been able to reconnect and align myself with the company that I'm now going to align with again, because I also align with Inagic's core values. And Inagic is the Japanese company that I was previously aligned with, that I'm stepping back into alignment with again and going to work with again. Because I've gotten really clear with what my core values are and what my vision is, and I have reconnected and found a new light and frequency when it comes to the core values of Inagic, the company. There's really that true alignment there. And the sustainable health product, because it's actually a sustainable health product, it's actually a water ionizer. I'm not going into all the details of what the machine is. However, it does produce the best alkalized antioxidant water today, globally, for not only consumption for drinking, but also for use in your home, office, wherever you have one of these machines. Because I'm in alignment with this sustainable health product, this definitely resonates deeply with my beliefs and my core values. And for me, this is so much more than just like a product. It's a movement that actually supports your health, your wealth, and the well-being of our planet. And that is powerful. To be involved with something that's not just for your own benefit, of course, in order to change the world, it definitely starts with changing yourself and changing yourself from within. And then there's that ripple effect. And being able to be involved with something that impacts your life and self and being in such a powerful way, and then being able to continue to support your health and be able to support you in a wealth-focused and creation way, as well as impact the planet, the global level, the environment. That's powerful. And that's talk about making a change in the world today. So I want to move on to the next section and reflect on the past 18 months and what's different now. And as you listen to some of the things that I will share, maybe some of these stories or some of these feelings or things that I may share, it may resonate with where you're at or where you've been. And I ask you to listen always with an open mind, and for you to be positively impacted by anything that I share with you, because everything that I have experienced is now leading me up to where I am today. I want to touch on some of the challenges and the growth that I have experienced in the last 18 months, almost 18 months. It's been about actually 16 months. I have faced some heavy shit over the last almost year and a half. I've had a major breakup that ended last year at the pretty much at the beginning of last year. And again, if you've been following my channel, you will have seen that there are quite a few different videos where I share certain insights and things that I learned and was able to embody coming out of that breakup, as well as I had a huge business burnout. The end of September, I burned out hard. I was tired from the big wave surf season, and I had multiple different things that happened to me in a professional way, which then impacted me to step away from my business from last year, which is this business model, which I'm going to step back into now. I've also had physical sickness. If you have been following my channel, this year, when I first came back from Hawaii, I was in Hawaii for 2 months for the winter season on Oahu surfing. I had a huge wipeout at sunset. I was trying to take off on 20-foot waves, my last big wave session in Hawaii. And sunset I have no idea what's going on there. And I had 5 or 6 wipeouts that day. And the first wipeout actually that I had, I ripped my shoulder again. I didn't fully dislocate it. However, I did stress my AC joint, and I was not surfing for maybe almost 6 weeks it was at the time, which is a long time for me. And then I got dengue fever in Bali. We have the rainy season, and I got dengue fever, which is from mosquitoes. And that was the most sick and ill that I've been in my entire life. More than glandular fever, more than mono, more than I had contracted COVID, whatever that was a few years ago. This, if you've ever had dengue fever, was terrible. I could barely get out of bed. I could barely get out of bed to make it to the toilet. It was awful. It was the pain in my body, in my joints, and how it messed up and really affected in a very negative way my mental health. Awful, awful. I've also had a situation recently, I would say a misalignment with a couple of my friendships, and that has really thrown me. And then also recently, I've had some very intense experiences when it's come to surfing. And this year, we are still only August. We still got at least one more month or more of our big wave season, our big swell season. And I have surfed every big swell at Uluwatu, at Bomi, and at Main Peak at certain days. And I've fortunately been able to surf some really amazing waves, but I've also had some very serious wipeouts and hold downs. Probably, again, not as intense and brutal as the North Shore that I had at Sunset. However, for this year, it's been intense. Let's just say it's been pretty intense. With all the things that have happened to me over the last 18 months, I've got so many different stories about them. I could link all the videos up here and here about what's happened to me. It was so bad in my previous relationship. I've had actually 2 relationships this year. And also I shared about that I've had misalignments in friendship. I've also had misalignments in, I would say, situationships with men as well this year. However, it was so terrible and horrendous and just really next level for me that in the relationship that I was previously in, I locked myself in my house, shut all the curtains and locked all my doors, thinking that my ex was going to break into my house and steal my cat. I also one time had run away from my house in my wetsuit, and I ran about 5 or 10 minutes away from the villa that I was renting at the time, and I went and hid in another villa. Maybe I've never shared that publicly online, but I've been through some heavy shit in the last 18 months, as well as I'm sure everybody has gone through their moments of contrast and challenge and adversity. But the most important thing, whether it's toxic relationships, whether it's burnouts from business where you feel like you are giving everything, when it comes to, and I'll bring this around full circle, when it comes to my business, I gave my blood, sweat, and tears and money and time and everything towards the business that I was, involved with my business last year. And the ROI was definitely not in a vibrational match to what I was giving out. So I was burned out and I was heartbroken. I realized that not only did I come out of a big relationship last year, but I also came out of an almost 4-year relationship with my business and with my work. And I've actually allowed myself, and I will follow on, but it's not so much, it's being aware of what happens to you, but it's actually then how you deal with things. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So moving on to what I want to speak about next is I've really learned to embrace these moments of struggle and stress and burnout and sadness and anger and disappointment. I've really learned to embrace and accept the struggles. And in doing that, in embracing the struggle, you have to go through a time of processing things that happen. Because sometimes right in the moment when things happen, you can't fully understand and comprehend and make sense. However, when you give yourself time to process and reflect about your certain situations or different things that have happened to you, then it's about coming into a way of having the awareness and the acceptance, processing it, and then letting it go. And in doing this, in being really clear around what's happened and these struggles, I've been able to transform what I used to believe and how I used to feel, an action that I used to take. And I've been able to transform that now into the place and space where I am now, where my mindset and my energy and my frequency is, and the action that I'm taking forward now from embracing my struggles. So because of all of that, you either have two choices. You either get all consumed and you stay in the stress and the toxicity and just a way of like being down and being stuck in your contrast and in problems and in adversity and in those challenges, or you choose to realign with what is your vision, what are your values, and are you actually living in alignment with that vision and with those values? And if you're not, ask yourself why. What do you need to do to come back into alignment, to be taking action and living and embodying and breathing and being in those visions and values? Because you're actually worth that. And that's taken me quite some time to come into. But, they say once you know, right? And I know now. It's been a huge personal growth time for me, and especially this year, especially after I was hit with my injury and I was hit with my injury and dengue fever, and the season hadn't started yet. And I was going through a really tough time. And again, I've shared a video about this. I can link that here and here and here for you, wherever that is. And actually, for the very first time, because I had stepped away from the previous business model last year, I actually, for the very first time, had invested this year in a self-development course. Now, over the last few years, I have invested my time and money into multiple business coaches, business programs, anything that could help me up-level my skills when it came to business, sales, marketing, social media, all of that. But what I wasn't doing, I was doing my own personal development. I've always had a very consistent, and I share about this, I've always had a very consistent yoga practice and meditation practice, and I've been very much attuned with journaling and other spiritual practices of affirmations, visualization, but I never had actually invested in a self-development course. Now I'm still enrolled with this. It is based and focused around manifestation techniques, as well as the power of studying your mind, mindset mastery, and shifting yourself into your new level version self, which is of course what my channel is all about if you've been following me. And so this was huge. This has been huge. I'm grateful for the last few years and all the training and education and all the experience that I've had with business, sales, marketing, social media, etc. However, what's been really, really significant and transformative and major turning point for me has been attuned with this mindset manifestation course, because it's allowed me to actually shift my mindset and my frequency to the next level. And of course, I truly believe that it should be like this, right? Natural evolution. It should be that as you continue to mature and develop through your years, through your decades, that you are hopefully learning and evolving and becoming all the time a better next level version of yourself. And if you're not, that is definitely something for you to question. And so this personal growth, and I see this and I feel this and I experience this, and maybe this is for you as well. If you've also been through a phase of your life where you've had a situation that happened, whether it was work, whether it was relationship, friendship, whether it was your health, and it's forced you to realign with your lifestyle, with your mindset, with what you're doing in your life. And then it's allowed you to grow on a very deep, personal, inner level. And then moving forward, maybe you have experienced other people or other situations, And and you've become aware of not responding or reacting in the same way that you have before, you actually are able to respond in a very different manner and have a very different mindset and outlook and perspective. Whereas you can see now that other people are still maybe responding the same and doing the same. And this is definitely what I have experienced for myself, that there have been now situations in the last few weeks and few months where it's been like, or even this year, where I've observed, and I don't judge, I'm just observing because we're humans. And of course, like, we are in our human sometime. We're here to have a human experience. We're living a spiritual life, but we are here to have a human experience. And sometimes we're more locked into our human more than showing up as our source self. However, I have beautifully been able to humbly say that there have been situations, and it's almost caught me off guard when I have seen people or different situations react in a certain way, and that is a negative way. And I've been able to not respond to that or not react to that, but respond to that in a very neutral way. Whereas in the past, I would flown off the handle and profanity like coming out everywhere. I think you know what I mean. So I just want to share that your personal growth, there should be a natural evolution as you move through your life. And if there isn't a natural evolution and you are taking what you've learned, insights and lessons from things that have happened in the past, then this is definitely your invitation to take that time to reflect. So I want to share about that now, moving on to my reconnection with purpose. So this year especially, I went through a phase where I was dating and I was very, very social, and I was drinking and I was out and I was here, there, and my energy and my focus was just scattered everywhere. And I even feel like for a span of time, I was like, oh, my surfing just seems like it's not going anywhere. And it's because I wasn't grounded in my vision and my values. And so after some reflection, and after I had a situation, and I will say just a misalignment in friendship, and my misalignments in situationships, and then just the way I was feeling in my physical health, I've actually felt pretty much on par and pretty good with my emotional and mental health. Just like my energetic health, I guess I was just feeling very scattered. So it's allowed me to, through experiences of recent, it's allowed me to reflect, to stop, to reflect, create some awareness, and to really figure out, okay, so what am I doing in my life? Because there's a lot of people here in Bali, and maybe it is for you where you're living, where you're just living according to what others think that you should be doing, or what maybe you've just been doing for years and years and years, but it's not serving you, because you're actually the one that gets to be the driver of your own life. And you're actually the one, when you come into the power of this knowingness, you can live life on your own terms, and you can also work in a way on your own terms, and you can show up in love, in friendship, for your health, for creativity on your own terms. Now, I know that I am digressing here, but it's all connected. So from all my experiences in the last 18 months, I've actually been able to come back and rediscover and redefine, because these have been all moments to self-define again and like figure out like what the F I'm doing. It's actually allowed me to land in a new sense of purpose, focusing again on building my brand, which you see here on social media, as well as being aligned with a high profit, abundant income by being involved with a company which supports true wealth, health, and the well-being of our planet. I really had to think about, like, how do I want to show up? And there's only so much that you can be living your life and just like a butterfly, like here, there. And I'm a Gemini, I'm an air sign, so I'm very sort of flighty, and I can run away with that. However, because of certain situations that I had, it allowed me to think, there's only so much time that we get in our life, right? We don't know how much time. We also only get one lifetime here in this moment. Yes, there are other realms and other time-space realities, but this is the time-space reality that we are in now, in this human experience. And so I was thinking like, I'm at this phase of my life. I'm 44 years old, and I'm also directing this video to you if you are also 40 and above, because I think that there's a very powerful hormonal thing that happens. And also maybe it's just through life experience, and maybe this might happen too if you're in your 20s and 30s, but moving more so, maybe you're watching this and you are over 40, that you come into this newfound confidence that you're like, I don't give a fuck what other people think of me anymore. If they judge me, I'm gonna just live my own life. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. Gone are my days of people pleasing. I really used to have the big people pleasing syndrome. And of course, if you're watching this video and it doesn't align with you, that's okay with me. There's lots of people that you can align with watching content on social media, YouTube, Instagram, like what have you. However, I've really been able to reflect and ask myself some very deep, empowering, like really personal questions, like, what do I want for my life? And am I doing right now what is in alignment, and am I showing up with what is in alignment, which is serving me to creating and being and embodying and manifesting my visions, and my dreams and my grand plans? And if I'm not, then why aren't I? Shouldn't it be now that you get to a certain age and you want to live a life with like some meaning and purpose and impact and be able to really make a difference? And I share that like very seriously, because I'm so grateful of mentors and friends and different situations that have impacted me in the most life-changing way. And that is why I'm sharing this video with you, that maybe you will resonate with this for you right now in your life with what you're experiencing, or maybe you've been through this before, or maybe you can identify with where your life is now and that you don't want it to go in a certain way. It's really creating that awareness, right? Just reconnecting with a deeper purpose for not only to impact your own life, but the lives of others and the planet. That is where I've come into. And that's a very powerful place to be. And I desire this for you as well, ultimately. Okay, well, we may have to re-record this, because as I was glancing at my notes, then I went back to the screen of Riverside and I had no internet connection. And I don't even know if this was recording. So we may be doing this again. However, we're going to continue. Okay, so I want to move on to the next section and talk about why this path might be for you. So these are some questions for reflection for you. And I want to ask you now to take the moment as you're listening, or you can journal this later, or just take this moment to reflect now. Have you ever felt misaligned in your career, your relationships, or your personal growth? And you can be aware of this if you feel like something is really off. If you're stressed, if you're anxious, if you're broke, if you're crying, if you're sad, if you just feel off, if you feel that your vibration within is not a high vibration. And of course, we are humans. We're not always vibrating at this perfect, aligned, colorful, beautiful, sunshine place, right? Life is up and down, and there are different moments that we have. We can definitely be in our humans sometimes. But if you feel like truly that overall, when you reflect on your life, that something is off, then that's the moment for you to take a serious it's an opportunity for you to reflect and to reconnect with what are you doing in your life? Are you connected to your vision, your dreams, your values, and are you living in alignment with those? And here's the next part, is that you need to ask yourself as well, are you ready for a change that could lead to better health, true wealth, and an up-leveled and extraordinary fulfillment. Because there are some people, because we're not ready, and nobody can tell you when you should be ready, that people live for not only months, years, but sometimes decades of not being happy, not feeling fulfilled, living life according to what others or society or your family or what your husband or what your partner or what somebody says on social media. You're living according to the standard of what other people think that you should be living, the lifestyle that you should be living, that people just settle. People just are complacent in like, okay, well, this is my life because this is the way it's meant to be. And that's really just excuses. There's some real deep inner work to do there because you're actually worthy of more. Again, it's to really ask yourself, are you ready for change that could greatly impact you to leading towards true health, true wealth, and fulfillment? And I share with this why this path might be right for you. Because at this stage, if you've been following my channel, I have been coming back into a very focused time around building my channel, getting this YouTube channel monetized, growing my subscribers to 1,000. And actually, I saw in the notes for monetization for the channel that you actually only need 500 subscribers. So I'm closer to 500 than I am to 1,000. However, I had mentioned in a video that I was actually editing today. No, I haven't found an editor. I haven't outsourced my editing work. All my videos are coming out, except that I'm doing all the editing myself. I am running already a month behind. There are days of content that I have been editing. And anyway, that's a side thing. However, I had said in the video that I was editing today that I was like, no, I'm not going to be again involved with the previous business model. And I've been thinking about the end result of my channel and what my goals are for my channel and what I'm actually creating here online. And one of the things that I was thinking about and that I've reflected on is when I've taken into account how I wish to show up and what I wish to share through my YouTube channel and the podcast that I am definitely still working on, video podcast. And then I think about my core values. And then I think about creating a brand and creating online business and creating digital media and monetizing that, creating multiple streams of income. And then I think about some bigger financial projects that I have beautiful, amazing ideas for and a vision for in the future. I then have revisited, and I was actually watching some training for a platform, an online platform that supports running your Enagic business. And so as I was like getting reactivated with the learning all again and revisiting all the information about, of course, not only the product and the company, but the compensation plan, it got me excited again in a new way. And what's different now is that I am different now. And this could be another video of why I didn't create the success that I thought and should have created back then when I had my burnout and over the years. But what's different now is that I am different. My mindset has up-leveled. My frequency is pure and raw and up-leveled to a new standard and a new level and a new realm. And that's powerful. And I see that up level and that new standard when it comes to my day-to-day interactions and when it comes to my surfing and when it comes to now how I've been creating and what I've been doing and what I've been focused on in the last month. That when I actually cut out the noise of everyone else and everything else around me and I got really clear, and this is what I invite you to do, when you get really clear, again, I cannot emphasize this enough and strongly enough, is that when you get really clear on what is your vision and what do you value and are you living in alignment so that every action, thought, and behavior is serving you to achieve your vision and be in your values, that's where you need to be. Okay, so I got really excited there. Okay, so as I was watching this training, I was like, okay, I am ready to go back in, to go all in again with my vision for being in alignment with this business model and with this business and with this product and with what I'm creating here online through my videos. And I ask you to do the same. And I ask you to do the same. So it's actually, when I've done this self-reflection, and this is for you to do, I will probably do another video off the top of my head for you to come back into alignment with your values and your vision. I actually did a video, I can link it here. It's actually called What is Your Ikigai? Discovering what your true passion and purpose is. I can do a renewed version of that. I did that a couple of years ago. But when you can actually align what your values are and what you're passionate about, and you can bring that into alignment and into the same realm, and you create that connection and alignment with your purpose, that becomes powerful. Because coming back into sales now and aligning with sales now, and sales is being of service, is actually combining my passion for wellness, my passion for sustainability, my passion to create financial success, my passion to show up in a professional and creative way to create impact personally for others and the planet. And that this actually could be something that is attractive and inviting for you, because you weren't born in this world to play small. And I feel like for some different times, I was playing small, and I also didn't believe in myself. I also didn't feel worthy. I wasn't confident, and I felt like, do I really deserve this? And through my personal development journey this year, doing the inner work, and I'm still continuing to do the inner work, I've actually been like, you know what? Like, I know what I want. I know what I want. I've gotten so clear. And I've now, instead of sometimes just having moments where I felt confident, moments when I felt a little bit worthy and deserving, now I've landed in it. Now I know my worth and my value, and I feel empowered as fuck. And that's the difference, coming back into doing something that is driven in a professional and financial way to create more for that. This also, again, maybe this is not where you're at. Maybe this is where you want to get to, or maybe this is what you've pondered and thought about. And I'm just showing up here as an example. And of course, always sharing with you my insights of where I'm at and where I'm going, and maybe where you wish to go as well. Okay, so here's the next question for you. Change is permanent. Change will always happen. That's actually one thing that you can rely on in life, is change. Because everything's always changing, and thank God everything's always changing. But transformation through change. So I invite you to, again, ask yourself an empowering question that if you were to make a similar shift that could help you break free from toxic patterns, achieve your dreams, achieve your vision, achieve your values, be in your values, and live a life that feels truly aligned and that is extraordinary and next level and new standard and what is just beyond, this could maybe be a path for you as well with what I'm involved with. Because it's being able to not play small, define what your values are, and to live towards that vision, to ultimately showing up as your most worthy, confident, empowered self, as your best self, as your best vision version self. I want to move on to the next section, which is asking you, following on from these questions, could this be the change that you need? Because through everything that I've shared, I have figured out a way for me which is for me. And maybe, of course, this isn't for you, and this isn't where you're at, and that's fine as well. You're maybe just listening to this, but likely you're watching this and you also align with what I've been sharing. And maybe this could be the change that you need. Maybe this is the time now that you're watching that you're like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. Like, I feel activated. Like I need to make a change. And you get to that point, those line in the sand moments, those moments that, shit hits the fan and you're like, okay, this is a moment where I can choose two ways. I can either go this way and stay in my shit, or I can choose to up level and really evolve from here into your best self and best life. First of all, it's to give yourself grace and compassion and to have empathy and understanding. And you should also have empathy and understanding for yourself, that when you become aware of your struggles and you give yourself grace and compassion of what some of your fears are and what some of your self-limiting beliefs are and what some of that old narrative is that's been running on autopilot for years, when you actually can just have the awareness of where you're at, that's like your first step. And I don't know what's going on in your life, right? Of course, you're watching this and I'm sharing with you in light some things which have happened to me, and I don't know what's going on in your life. However, you may be having these fears and you may be having uncertainty. You may feel stressed, you may feel anxious, you may feel sick, you may have no energy. Maybe you can't even get out of bed. Let me tell you, I've been there. And you're just feeling off and you're feeling stuck and stagnant. And you know that you want more, but you're just not sure how to get there. This is everything that I share with you here on my channel and in my videos, and this is my dharma, is that you are the one that gets to choose to change. You actually can change your life. But first of all, just have grace and compassion that this is where you're at now and you can change that. So it's important then to take inspired and aligned action. And I'm sure that you've heard me speak about this before. So I encourage you to be aware and reflect on your moments of contrast and adversity, that these are opportunities for you to self-define, and they're opportunities and a new direction forward for you to becoming a better self and having a better life. See that by taking inspired and aligned action towards something different, instead of seeing this as like risky or unknown, it's an opportunity for you to self-define and for you to step into your full potential and your greatness. And I want to share that through my personal development and through my newfound and the new light and energy that I've had around these realizations of reasons why I wish to come back into sales and continuing on with everything that I'm creating and sharing with you online here, is that it's opening doors for you. You know, when you actually get clear with what your vision is and your value is, and then you start to take action, some steps, and you start to change some small things every day. You know, of course, we know, right? There's that book, The Slight Edge, and it's all about small changes in your habits and creating new ways, small steps every day. It compounds, and over maybe in the moment, over a week or 2 weeks or 2 months or even a year, you're like, oh, I don't see anything. But if you continue to take small, consistent, aligned, inspired action of steps and creating new habits and different things, it actually compounds. And then you look back in retrospect and you're like, wow, like it's different. Life is different. I'm different. Things are different. That's powerful. So I invite you to think maybe that you could consider that by your experiences and maybe your struggles and insecurities, these are also opportunities and signposts and things of significance for you to redirect and shift your life into a different path. And I invite you, whether this is to join me on the same journey that I'm moving towards when it comes to sales and working online, or this may be just for you and inviting you to learn more about the sustainable health product or the compensation plan or the business and working online, or this is your invitation as well, just to continue to follow watching my channel and following along all the content and all the insights and everything that I'm sharing to inspire you to ultimately embody your worth, your confidence, so that you can show up empowered as fuck. So you can show up and send it in the lineup, out of the lineup, in your friendships, in your relationships, in your health, with your creative endeavors, just for you to embody your worth and confidence. And whether that's going to be in the same professional direction that I'm going, or for this content to impact you in a very positive, impactful, empowered way. Okay, fingers crossed that this continued to film. Otherwise, I have quite a lot of content to reshare, or my message to reshare. I also need to figure out this microphone situation, because this, what do they call this? A boom arm. This is really jiggy, let me tell you. This is connected to my desk. I have researched there are other mic desk stands, because we sometimes have this, like boom arm here. I just want to wrap up and just go over some of the key points of things that I have shared. So I really invite you to reflect on embracing change, aligning with your values, and that you have the potential for great transformation to step into your full potential. And I'm truly asking you to share with me in the comments about your thoughts or your experiences with change and alignment. And I encourage for you to please share with me in the comments your own journeys. I am very focused on building a community here with you that we actually are aligned and share similar visions and values. And whether you are a surfer, whether you are a woman that is over 40, or maybe you're a different age. However, I really am focused on creating a beautiful community here. So please, I really appreciate any comments that you share down below. And I invite you, please, to subscribe to my channel for more value and more vibe and always more fun, because I'm really focused on not only living my fulfilling, purpose-driven life, but I'm really focused on empowering you to live a life that is fulfilling and purpose-driven, that is for you. So I offer for you to connect with me if you'd like to leave me a personal message on any of my platforms, or you can leave me, again, a comment down below in the comments section. If, of course, you would like to learn more about Enagic and the product, or about the business opportunity, feel free to drop me a question or connect with me. I do hope that you've had fun and you've found vibe and value here. And I thank you so much, and I will see you next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.